All right, good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday. We made it back through another week. Yeah, no, I wasn't live last week, but I was on Jason's live last Saturday, live from 32,000 feet. Thank you very much. I think I was the first to be live from an airplane, not like actually broadcasting live, which would have been okay. And I thought about it, except that the folks in the seat next to me, they were father and his little girl, so I didn't want to do that. Just out of respect for them, and also I didn't know how well the connection would be. Plus, I would have had to like, well, no, I didn't have to pay for it because T-Mobile actually gives free Wi-Fi on flights when you're on American Airlines. So kudos to American Airlines and T-Mobile. Awesome, 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 awesome. All right, let's see who all is here. I know Jeff HKS was first, and he said he would be back. Rune International at a close second. Legless Lockpicker, good afternoon to both of you guys. G Man, good morning. Let's see here. Zoe the Cat, good morning to you as well. Wood Spirit Bushcraft, hope everything's well with your daughter. Um, hope everything's good there. Wish you all the best. Let's see here. What will Tim be up to today? And of course, Tyler says about 5'7". Tyler is completely incorrect on that. I'm only up to 5'7" if I'm standing on a phone book or a Sears catalog. So, Tyler, get your facts straight. Come on, man. Uh, will I be wearing a cat hat today? Well, most of the kitties are asleep out here. Let's see. Robert Patton, good morning. Stream is good today, and Tech Cat crew are on standby. Yes, they are. All right, Jeff, you made it back. Kurt O. Lock and Key. Yeah, I started like a minute and a half early. So awesome. You made it. Anyway, so yeah, not this past week, but week before, I went to St. Petersburg, Florida for the Southern Lock trade show. Southern Lock, for those of you who don't know, is a locksmith distributor nationwide. They are headquartered in Florida, and every year they have a show with classes and then the actual trade show. And it was actually really good. This was my first Southern Lock one to go to, and they were super awesome. The trip down was a little chaotic. My plane got delayed twice, so I wound up taking off like little over 2 hours later than what was originally scheduled. Um, and then I get down there, and the Rent-A-Wreck company that was supposed to have a rental car for me, they apparently close at like 4 p.m. on Tuesdays. So anyway, didn't have a rental car, which that was fine. I went and got a cab because there's only it's really weird. There's no nonstop flights from Charlotte to St. Petersburg, but there are nonstop flights from Charlotte to Tampa, which Tampa is like 25. It's about a 25-minute drive across the bay from St. Petersburg to Tampa. Um, Beautiful views, actually, of the bay. Saw a lot of boats. James Randolph, Miko Wolf, good morning. The airline industry isn't 2 hours called a smoke break. James, I was able to take three on the way down because I got to the airport way too early. Probably could have gotten there like an hour later, but 'tis better to be early than it is to be late for a flight. Anyway, the hotel I stayed in, it was different from where the actual All the classes were being held, but it was a 4 block walk away, and it was really, really great classes. I pretty much took all of the Allegiant classes. I was signed up for some others, uh, but then the one Thursday afternoon, well, Thursday, my coworker also went. My boss did not go, uh, but my coworker and I, we went, and Thursday we both broke for lunch, and there was a restaurant in the same building. It's a high-rise building for, I think it was the Hyatt, which was where all the classes were, and it had several restaurants in it. And we went to the pizza restaurant the first day, and then we decided to go to this like cafe-ish place. Hello, hello, yes. Free to anybody willing to come and like drive to pick him up. By the way, very sweet boy, and that's my foster. And anyway, so we went to that restaurant. We walk in, sit down, and we got seated at like 5 minutes after 12. Our order was not taken until almost 12:30, and that was drink and food order. And my coworker, she had to go, like her class started at 1, and it was a class that was a paid class. In other words, there was an additional fee other than just registering for the show. There was an additional fee for it, so she did not want to miss that. So she ordered her lunch to go. Um, I stayed, and because the class that I had signed up for, which was actually best key cutting and combinating class, which I did really want to take. Uh, it wasn't a paid for class, so I went and anyway, I stayed there at the restaurant, waited for the food to come out. The food got set on the table at like 5 minutes after 1. I ordered a chicken quesadilla, and she ordered like a sandwich or something. Yeah, not, I mean, it wasn't even on the regular lunch menu. It was under the appetizers menu. Anyway, really annoyed about that. And then, so instead of going to my class, because the class that I had signed up for was already like almost over by the time I got done eating and got to pay well, actually, we prepaid before she left. And anyway, I wound up missing that class, which sucked because I did want to take it, but I'm not going to go into a class 30 minutes late, 45 minutes late, whatever. Um, so I took a class by Allegiant on their keying systems, the Schlage keying systems, specifically Primus and Everest, which I have Everest all around here, all around my house and everything. I like Everest, and I actually did learn a lot about that. Hopefully, we're going to talk about. Um, Damn, Jeff, you've got good eyes. We're going to look at this. It is a Securam. Uh, anyway, so we're going to talk about some of the Primus stuff, I think, coming up on an episode of the podcast. So make sure you tune in to that. It's available at the Three Tumblers podcast on YouTube or anywhere else that you get your podcast apps. Contractual obligation complete. All right. So anyway, but then Thursday night they had a happy hour sponsored by, I think it was Asa Abloy actually sponsored the happy hour Thursday night. And the Hyatt is located directly across the street from a disco club. It's a 70s themed disco club called Goodnight John Boy. And apparently it just opened up like a couple months ago. We all kind of got done with the happy hour, and moved over to the disco hour. I had some fun there, y'all. That was pretty nice. What I remember of it was pretty nice. Don't really remember much, just to be completely honest. Tyler and Jeff were texting me the next morning to say, "Hey, are you alive?" My coworker, she called me to say, "Hey, are you alive? Did you get murdered last night?" Um, that was an interesting walk back to my hotel. Just saying. Secure Tech, good morning. Joining in just in the middle of story time when talking about my adventures Thursday of last week. I also did not make it to class Friday morning. As horrible as that is, I did not get to class that Friday morning. That's the first time that's ever happened to me, and the first time that I've been that bummed in years. Probably close to 15 years since I had that much fun in one night. So awesome, awesome show though. The show was actually Friday afternoon, like late afternoon into evening. They served food there. All the regular vendors were there: Allegiant, Asa Abloy, Marks, Dormicaba, Olympus, which if you're a locksmith and you're looking for, or even if you're not a locksmith and you're looking for some really cool furniture locks, Olympus is actually a really, they offer some really cool stuff. Um, Compex is all pretty much either Timberline or just a standard wafer cam lock. Olympus actually offers real pin tumbler locks in real keyways. So in other words, you can use your key to the front door of your office to also unlock your office desk. Um, so that's pretty cool. I like that. Disco Stew meets Disco Patrolman. Disco Stew was certainly there. He did not look as young and vibrant as he does in The Simpsons, but Disco Stew was definitely there. I saw him. Anyway. But yes, we were all staying alive that night and shaking our groove things and going to Funky Town all at the same time. Anyway. uh, but yeah, the show was actually really good. I got a whole bag full of goodies and it is still at work because my coworker, she drove down there and back and I flew because I wanted the extra time to be able to take care of all the kiddies. And anyway, so she brought all of my goodie bag stuff back. I also got a free lock from Mark's, keypad lock. It's not here because I forgot to pick it up at the shop yesterday. Um, so look for that coming up in a live. Mark's has standalone keypad locks. If you're not already aware, Marks, we use their exit devices quite often. They make a clone of probably the most common exit device, or panic bar as they're called sometimes, uh, which is the Von Duprin 99 series. Excuse me there. And I much prefer the Marks device. The price point is way better, and the quality is just as good. Not throwing shade on my Allegiant friends, but mm, it's there, and we like it. So anyway, all my goodies are back at the shop, and actually, I was driving my truck home all week this week because my car's like a heap, and so I'm trying not to drive it as much. But I just completely forgot to pull all of that out of there. Let's see. S&M, Lock and Key, good morning, and Gumby, good morning. Gumby, I hope your area is not affected by all these wildfires that are going on up there. That's certainly not a good situation, even to your neighbors down this way. We've been getting smoke from all the wildfires up there in Canada. Yesterday it was actually really, really hazy. Today isn't too bad. Um, anyway, so yeah, came back last Saturday. I got home at I don't know, probably 3:30, 4 o'clock, something like that. Uh, Maybe even a little bit later than that, 4:30 last Saturday afternoon. It was pretty cool watching Jason's live and being in the chat. The reason why I dropped out is the Wi-Fi signal up there isn't that great, as you can imagine, having 150 people on the airplane all using the Wi-Fi's. Um, let's see, no fires, just hot this week. That's good, Gumby. Um, yeah, we're we're friggin' hot. It's already like 88 degrees, 89 degrees, freedom units outside. Uh, Supposed to get up to like 32 or 33 degrees centigrade today and tomorrow and the rest of the week. So, yeah, it's hot. Florida was definitely muggy. Oh my God. It was stormy. Like it was storming here and down in Florida Tuesday when I left. Uh, and it stormed down there pretty much all day Wednesday. My first class was at 9. My coworker's first class was at 8. So we got over there at like quarter till 8 to register and get checked in and everything. And so since I had time to kill and I hadn't had breakfast yet, I went and found a little breakfast spot. Awesome crepes. It was like and roast beef, eggs, some peppers, some other really, really good stuff. Y'all are gonna like give me a hard time over the name of it, but it was at the Wooden Rooster. You know, Wooden Rooster, a little crepe shop, and it was actually really good. The roast beef wasn't like Arby's roast beef. It was like actual real roast beef that was thin. Oh, yeah, it was good. Da, 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 da. Oh, wow, Gumby. Yeah, yep. Definitely glad they got them. Um, you know, arsonists are just a completely, I don't know, completely unique type of psychopath. Um, yeah, I don't like arsonists. I mean, now, granted, when I was a child, like the first time I got in trouble for playing with matches, I was like 3.5 years old. The second time I got in trouble for playing with matches was about 3.5 weeks later. And by the time I was about 6, mom and dad were like, okay, he loves fire, but he's pretty responsible, so let's just do a fire pit and do it safely. And so from the time I was about 8 years old to the time I was about 15 years old, I had a fire going in my fire pit. And except for like the middle of summer, like, right now, June, July, and August, for the most part, I didn't have fires going. But every other month of the year, even when I had other stuff going on, I just kept a campfire going. I loved it. I'd go out there, I'd build a campfire, burn it down, keep it in the fire pit, and then extinguish it. Um, If I wanted to have a fire the next day, I knew to use dirt and not water to extinguish it. And yeah, it was really fun. But yeah, like actual arsonists, firebugs, no, not cool. Happy Canada Day. I didn't realize that today was Canada Day. That's awesome. It's been months since I got into trouble for playing with matches. Oh, Lord. All right, so let's start to tear apart some of the stuff that I got this week. This week was hell coming back to work. Not just because of the, you know, whole coming back to work after being out of town for most of the week, but because we had so many calls backed up. We had so much stuff we had to get done from prior to leaving, and it's just been slammed. We've just been freaking busy. Um, and anyway, so jeez Louise. I mean, my first job Monday morning was going to open a Sentry safe, and the uh, the man who owned it passed away, and his wife and son had requested me to come out and open it, and I'll drill a Sentry safe. Um, other safes I don't have quite all the equipment to drill. I don't have a drill rig and the really really good bits, but I have I do have hard plate bits. I do have a decent eye for stuff. Well, the thing with Sentry is like the Sentry safes that I've looked at shown on here on live, they have the um, direct drive. In other words, the bolt work interacts with the fence or the gates on the wheels. So the bolt work is attached to the fence itself. The fence drops into the gates on the wheels, and you drill a hole in there to where you can see the gates and the fence and line it all up, and shoom, you're in. Well, this Sentry, uh, they had the combination written down, but they were pretty sure it was an incorrect combination, and or that it was written down incorrectly. So I tried the whole, one up, one down, two down. Um, Tried all that, and it still like didn't work. And so I called Sentry when their offices opened, which they're on Central Time, just for reference, and gave them the serial number, gave them the credit card number because they always charge, and then they gave me a combination that was exactly what was written down except for one number. One number, one digit off on the last combination number, and still didn't work. So I drilled it. Well, it was a Sentry gun safe. It wasn't like a little fire safe. It was actually a gun safe. And they discontinued it a long time ago. And anyway, it was actually one of their better products, actually, because I wound up drilling through over a quarter of an inch of steel. And they had hard plate right where I needed to be. I drilled the first hole where a lot of Sentries typically line up, which is kind of on the side. And I drilled there, and I'm like, put my scope in. I'm looking. I'm like, oh, it's way down there. Well, and so I go to drill down there, and I'm like drilling, 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 drilling. Switch out drill bits, drill and drill and drill and drill. Switch out drill bits, drill and drill and drill and drill. And finally, like, I'm like trying to do other stuff because I'm like, damn, I can't get through here. And anyway, finally just kept on with the drill, got in there, and was able to scope it. The numbers were so totally off. Like, one number was supposed to be 36, and the dial landed on like 72 when I had it scoped. I didn't do like all of them to see how far it was off, but I did notice on that number. Like, I didn't write down everything because it's Century, and I told him, yeah, it's not worth fixing. Let's see here. Ken underscore, good morning. Yesterday was first day my new job back at Jag's Key Shop. Awesome. Hope it's going well, Ken underscore. You sharpen the drill bits or toss them. We have a drill bit sharpener in the shop. The high speed bits that I was using were actually Milwaukee Cobalt drill bits, which have been doing really great, except for the fact that since I got them a month ago, those are the bits that stay in my tool bag. Since I got them a month ago, they've drilled nothing but steel. Like, I've used them on wood 2 or 3 times, and that's it. Aluminum maybe 3 or 4 times. Everything else has been steel. That being said, they're actually still, for the most part, pretty good. So I'm going to try to sharpen them when I go back in to the shop this week. But hang on a second. Excuse me. No, you can't play with that. It's sharp. There you go. Anyway, and then I use the ProLock hard plate drill bits, and I don't know, those work, but those drill bits require a lot of lubrication, and I don't know, they're just they're okay. Whew, 3K for a sharpener, damn. Rune, we've got like a bottle of like gel or whatever. I don't even remember the brand name of it, but it's kind of like a goo, a drilling goo. And I do use that when I'm in the shop. I don't have any on the truck. I need to have some on the truck. Uh, but I need to get some sort of cutting oil to keep on the truck just for that. Um, and when I drill steel and stuff, I'll be honest, most of the time when I'm drilling a steel door to put new hardware on, um, it I don't use cutting oil, which I should. Prolux sucks. Get some strong arms. Send you a few. Okay, cool, Jeff. Yeah. Um, Now I will say this: the Milwaukee Cobalt high-speed drill bits that I just keep in my tool bag, those are pretty awesome. I mean, they're really actually pretty awesome. Uh, I like them better than the DeWalt Black and Golds, which trying to see where my case of them went. Here they are. Um, these have not been used uh, like my work ones have, but this is what I did carry in my tool bag for a long time. The problem is you cut steel with them, you drill steel with them more than a couple times, and they're burned, even when you use some lubricant with it. Uh, Otherwise, I like them. if you don't have to use them every day, if that makes sense. They're great for around the house. They're great for if you don't do a lot of drilling. Uh, but if I install it, at least one job per day of mine is installation into a metal door. So I'm always drilling into metal. Uh, but anyway, let's see. And and she won. Hello to you. Welcome. I've not seen you here before, but welcome. Thank you for joining in. Let's see. Most locksmiths don't like mixing work with non-work. Question about safe. I just decoded. Was going to DM you on Twitter or Facebook. All right. So that was Monday. Oh, and also this right here is my drill rig for the time being. So I had, of course, this isn't my drill, but I had my drill like this to apply pressure, and yeah, my drill rig was sore for several days after. In fact, it's still a little sore. Hmm. Yeah, Rune, I've tried using Houdini uh, when drilling, but I don't know. It just vaporizes and smokes, and it really, really does not smell good. It's the literal burnt orange smell there. Um, all right, so after I did that, like this past Tuesday, I did a Kaba lock replacement, Kaba simplex replacement. Kaba has, and I know Jason Meeks talked about this, but Kaba has some sturdy ass boxes. I like them. So this was, I sure got everything out of there. Simplex 900 box. Let's see. There we go. Hey, I feel tall. All right, now my workbench is the right height. Another, well, if I go up like another 7 inches, I'll be as tall as Tyler. Let's see. A bottle of Permatex break-in lube. Smokes, but really good, thick like syrup. Okay. Sears. Messaging dial. Yeah, James, drilling stainless steel. I've got a job coming. I really don't want to talk about this job because I can't articulate my feelings about this job without using some really, really bad language. And are y'all buffering? All right, maybe now. Maybe. Frappuccino fundamentalist. No, starts with the wrong letter, Ken. I, the well, one of the words starts with F. Uh, the other words don't, and I'm not gonna go any farther than that. All right, cool. So, Tuesday, this past Tuesday, uh, well, not this past Tuesday, but the quote, I'd given a quote a couple weeks ago before I left. Uh, it's a little homeowners association, gated community. They have like an RV storage lot that has a gate on it, and their Simplex 900 was malfunctioning. And I'll kind of put this a little bit together here, maybe. So basically what you have with the Simplex 900 is you have a little push button keypad that looks like this on the outside. This is what's on the inside. It has a thumb turn to retract the latch, and your code chambers contained on the inside. And yeah. Anyway, they were having issues with it. It's got a lot of corrosion. You can see kind of how rusty it is, how nasty. And the outside thumb turn, which I don't think, oh, maybe it did make it. I don't think it made it. Still a really sturdy box. Nope, didn't make it. This is what the new one came in, by the way. And anyhow, so I replaced it. I didn't know what I was going to run into as far as the box, because it's a steel box that's on a double gate, and it actually went fairly well. I've never ever done one of these before, but I want to show you on the back here. You have the different buttons. So you push that button, and it goes here. That one's there, there. So you can see how, let's get that pop back in there. There we go. So each one, see it's spring loaded, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5 at the bottom, 4, 3, 2, 1. Which is, I mean, that's kind of a cool design, actually. Have it circular instead of, there's the faceplate that shows all the numbers and positions. I mean, you know, an engineer designed it, for sure. All right, let's take this apart real quick, and I'll show you briefly how to rehand it. This is a slightly older model. Let's see here. Farting agent. Yeah, Tyler, this is very definitely rusty. Anthony, good morning. Bad old school chamber. Yeah. So basically, to hand this latch, according to the directions, you lift up on this, pull this whole plate off right here, and then you just simply pull the latch out, turn it around, stick it back in, and then line all this up again. Kind of like that. And then your latch is rehanded. So just a little tip. It's not that hard to rehand these things. I am going to pull out the code chamber. Jesus Christ, where did these flies come from? Alright, let's pull this code chamber out. It's a regular code chamber. And let's see, where do we have our windows? This one. Yeah, this code chamber was going bad. It was kind of cool at the show. I can't really show you on this one. But at the Southern Lock show, uh, they actually had a booth there for Simplex Dormicava. It was in the Dormicava booth, but they had a speed competition for decoding the chambers, like decoding the combination from a code chamber. And I've done it like twice in my life. And the last time I did it was about a year ago. And I had no clue. Like, I couldn't remember. The guy was like, just remember that the notch that is closest to the drive is going to be one of your last numbers. It took me 4 minutes to decode it. His fastest time that he had out of everybody who had tried was 15 seconds, but he also had 5 walkaways and 3 that were over 15 minutes. So I didn't win. He took my phone number. Didn't win. Oh, that's cool, Ken underscore. He didn't brick it. No windows, old chamber design. Yep. Okay. Cool, Anthony. You're listening on Overcast. Not use that app, but that's pretty cool that we're reaching out that far. So, really awesome. Thank you for listening. Everybody else, if you haven't already or you don't, check out the Three Tumblers podcast. Please, please. Okay. Jeff has like 2 jobs on the show. His first job is to upload the episodes. Like, once I'm done editing and adding all the music and everything, uh, Jeff's job is to take that file, listen to it. Well, Jeff and Tyler both listen to it to make sure I didn't screw up, make it sound like a bunch of chipmunks or something. But then he, like, he uploads it. So that's his first job for the show. His second job for the show is handling all correspondence. And we've not had like any emails or questions or comments or suggestions or anything at all like that. And, Jeff's kind of feeling a little sad because of that. So send us an email, y'all. Please. All right, there. I'm done groveling. All right, so something that I've talked about a long time is the Adams Wright 4590 or 4591 paddle operator. If you do any type of real commercial work, you'll run into these. They're used with Adams Wright dead latches, which I do not have a dead latch. I tried finding like an old dead latch body that I had, didn't have one. I will bring one in one day and we'll do a whole live on it. But basically, the way that these things work is you have this mounted on a storefront aluminum door. There's a dead latch, meaning that instead of a swing bolt or a hook bolt, it's an actual latch like what you would have on a doorknob, just to completely dumb it down. But it's all mounted in storefront door aluminum hardware. And so when you push this, it retracts the latch and you're able to leave. You can also set it up for the rare in-swing doors to pull, and it will allow you to leave. They can be handed, left hand, right hand, whatever. And the whole thing is they drive a little cam disc like this. So you have this part here in the middle, and it turns based on how you have it oriented or handed, and it literally reaches in the Adams right dead latch, and that hook you see pulls it backwards, pulls the latch back, thus allowing you to exit. Very, very common, at least here. Let's see here. Rune, thank you for posting that link. Appreciate it. James, we do accept emailed coconuts, bananas, $20 bills, more coconuts, and more emailed $20 bills. And also we have a teletype machine. So if you can send it over the teletype, then we can do that. Keep wanting to save $20 bills to send in podcast. Yeah. Hell, Anthony, geez, 20 bucks is like lunch nowadays for a freaking chicken quesadilla. Be hilarious if our first comment came by fax. You know what, Tyler? We should set up a fax number. We really should set up a fax number for the show. Send you one covered in dirt, cobwebs, and dead bugs. So in other words, you're going to write it on the inside cover of a mortise body lock. Okay. Great for snag clothes. So lawyer and YouTube occasionally send him a fax. Yeah, Gumby, we do. We see enough of these that we keep them on the trucks. I keep both this style, which this is the 4591. You can see it's wide. You can identify it from afar. That's afar, AFAR, not the Southern firefighter in me saying it's afar. The three wise men showed up wearing fire helmets because they came from afar. Hope y'all got that. If not, I will leave it laying where it is. But anyway, so basically you've got, come around here again. Basically you have the paddle body, and you have the actuator, and it goes in there like this. Then you have a cat get in your way, and then you have this bar, which interacts with the paddle and the actuator. And you see that little screw right there. Sometimes that falls out. I've had like a couple of them fall out. But anyway, I digress. Then you have these springs here. This one's missing like half the stuff it needs to work. Hence why I replaced it. It was on a restaurant. So then you've got that spring right there. And Let's see. It's actually a double spring, so a spring within a spring. And wait a second. There we go. Now we can see. Let there be light. All right. So then you would have a second spring down here, and then you would have your actually you have your plates that go in. You see how they're notched out. Put that in up here. Just kind of holds snug in there, but it doesn't really hold snug, which I'll talk about in a second. Then you put this one down here. Then you put your screws through. And on the door itself, you have these posts that are mounted from the inside of the door and secured with a nut like that, by a nut like me. And then also this has another post, which I'm holding this upside down. Your cam disc has posts which secure in those holes. And so you slide it in there, tighten your screws down. Excuse me. Tighten your screws down like that. It kind of needs this. Thank you. And then you take your push paddle. You can see how it's kind of hooked right there. And that goes into your actuator. And then you put your spindle in there. And then there's this Allen, I guess that's a nut. They actually are really nice, and they give you the correct size Allen wrench to go in there, tighten that up. Like so. And then you can push on the paddle. And you see when you push on the paddle, it moves the hook, thus retracting the latch. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the Adams Wright paddle operator. Part number 4591 for this style. If you have the original style, which is a more square style, both on the paddle and the paddle body, then that is the 4590. Let's see. Magic trick with $20 bill was found in a banana. Zoe the cat actually received a fax last week. Awesome. Always have extra spring kits for these. Yes. Okay, so S&M brings up a good point. When you take these off the door, and I'm going to say, okay, this is mounted on the door, right? So you take your Allen and you unscrew the little screw nut, take your paddle off. Well, take your shaft off, you take your screws out because you're taking it off the door, right? All right, so behind these two plates back here are the springs. There's nothing holding these plates in there except a little bit of friction, and when you get these brand new, they are well lubricated. There is some really, really good factory goo in there. You can take these and set them down just as gently as you would set an egg down on a concrete countertop. The springs will still fly out. You might even not be near it, and the springs will go bing, and then you have to reassemble the whole thing. You can gently hold it in your hand, and if you sneeze or you look away, or your phone goes ding, the springs will explode out of there. So always keep springs for sure. Watch the kitty turn off the stream. No, well, they've not done that quite yet, Tyler. Let's see. Hex Wrench. Allen is the company. Okay. Huh. That's pretty cool. Uh-uh. No walking on the keyboard, please. Don't look at me that way. I know you're adorable. We're going to find your home soon, just like the others. Yes, I'm a cat wrangler. Anyway, so you have all this because uh, they can be rehanded. They're very simple to rehand, actually, because okay, they are, but they're not. Once you've rehanded like half a dozen of them, they're all perfectly fine to rehand. It doesn't take you but a minute. Um, if when you are rehanding them, let's see, let's do this. There we go. Push from the back and everything pops out. Just exactly how it would do in the field. Um, so when you rehand these, a lot of times, depending on push or pull, you have to move this screw between these holes. And the reason being is that it keeps this offset correct. If you were to just not do that and try to turn it, then it might wind up like this instead of this. This is the proper configuration if you have it mounted, properly in the door. You can see here, this is the at-rest position for the cam disc. So if you try to install this like that, well, that's going to overextend it. That's going to retract it. So you do have to move that in order to keep the orientation and the timing correct on these. Um, just keep that in mind. You can't shortcut it. But when you do remove these, that's not a standard either metric or it's not standard or metric. Hex, I guess, is what we're calling it. Hex drive screw made by Allen. But anyway, um, a number 15 Torx bit will work just fine to do that. Or if you take a pair of Nipex onto this and another pair of Nipex onto this, you can unscrew it and move it and tighten it in. Comes with thread lock on it, so you can reapply more if you feel like it. They do fall out eventually, no matter how much thread lock you have on them. But once you do all that, you can get it reassembled fairly quickly. Some people like to put this on the door, your uh, put your actuator bar in there, and then your spring. Wait, wait. Okay, sit here. Sit there quietly, and I'll let you stay. Put your springs in there to drive it, and then put your plates, and then screw through it. And they do the spring and the plate and the screw one at a time. That's how some people do it. I've kind of gotten to the point where I can just assemble it onto the door and grow it on there just fine, and don't don't have to worry about it. When you do brand new ones or you replace, they come with stickers. The plush or pushable stickers. I know it takes you a second to read those. Pull or push, put that on there. Also, it comes with a sticker for dogging instructions. And look at that. It's like white on a clear background, so that way when you put it onto the dark colored body, boom, it shows up. And they do color code their parts and their stickers. So Oh, and the way that you dog these down is up top here on the body, there's another Allen, and you use the little dogging key that comes with it. And basically, that just comes down and puts pressure onto the top of the paddle. So you can dog it down that way. Most Adams Wright bed latches, though, have key dogging as well. So you just push in on the latch and then turn your key in the cylinder from the outside, and that will dog it down. One day I will get a dead latch and bring it in for live, and we can dissect those because those are actually pretty cool. And in conjunction with these, you can do some pretty cool stuff with Adams Wright storefront door, aluminum glass storefront door hardware. So, excuse you. Wait. Come here. Anyway, let's see here. Cam is the hardest part because that C-clip comes. Yes. So when you have to rehand the cam, which you do, 50% of the time. So you can see here what was it? Yeah, S&M. What S&M was saying here. Okay, so when you rehand the cam, so this part, obviously, if it's sitting in the door like this, the latch is over here because when this gets retracted, it pulls back, which pulls the latch away from the door. Well, you can see right there, there's a little tiny C-clip, and you pop that off, and then this pivot pulls out, and you just simply flip that around, put the pivot back in, put your little C-clip back on. And when you put the C-clip back on, well, when you take it off, the C-clip invariably will fly somewhere, and you have to find it. Whether it's brand new or 10 years old, that C-clip will most likely either stick to the end of your screwdriver and you're on a wild goose chase for 30 minutes, or it will fly off into oblivion and you will never see it again. Let's see, Tim, do you guys rebuild paddles? I got replacement springs, usually just sell them new. Yeah, normally I just sell them new. I because unless if it's something really, really simple, like the other day, actually it was yesterday morning. Was it yesterday morning? Yeah, yesterday morning. Thursday, I was slammed. I got done with my last job at 7 p.m. Normally, I'm in my car on my way home at 5 p.m. Uh, had a job, they had a paddle, it didn't work. You push on the paddle, did nothing to the dead latch. And so I just said, look, I looked at my truck. I said, hey, I'm sorry, I used my last one. It was actually the one that I used to replace this paddle with. I said, I used my last one. I'm going to have to grab one from the shop in the morning, and I'll come back and I'll meet you here at 8 o'clock. And they were fine with that. So I went, did all that yesterday morning, show up, throw all my tools that I normally have for this on the cart, go up to the door. Guys, they're waiting. I take, drop this little nut and the pivot spin. I don't know what the real name is for that. Drop that out, pull the paddle off, and guess what? That little set screw came out. That was all it was. Picked it up, put it back in, tested, boom, worked great. But I was ready to just replace the entire thing. And normally I don't rebuild them. If it's something like that where that screw falls out by chance, then I will just reinstall that screw and we'll be good. But uh, otherwise I always just sell them a new one because you've got spring wear, you've got wear on this part, you've got wear on the cam disc, you've got potentially wear on your pivots, it's just time for a new one. And they're not that expensive. I mean, they're really not. So, you can charge accordingly with your labor and your parts, and the customer's got, you know, they're coming out better. Plus, you don't have to worry about warrantying anything. You don't have to tell the customer, say, hey, I can do this one little easy fix and it's going to be cheap for you today versus, but I might have to come out a week from now. And if I do have to come out a week from now, I'm going to charge you double what you're paying today because we're just going to replace it. So just replace it now, get your money, and go on to your next job. Let's see. Every time I think I've collected every bit, I find another. Now I need a triangle with a hole in it. Yep. Wood Spirit Bushcraft, welcome back. See the C-clip, smallest part ever. Yep. Wood Spirit, hope everything went okay earlier. I'm actually just getting ready to wind up. Been going on for about an hour now. Throat's getting dry. I'm getting hungry. And it's hot outside, even though it's like 72 degrees in here. And I just hear my power bill running up because of the air conditioner. Buy once, cry once. Yep, Jeff, that is absolutely right. So, awesome. All good. Glad to hear that. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and wind up because I think my phone's about dead too. I don't have the charger out here today to plug it up, keep it powered while I'm going. Plus, y'all need a break between me and Jason Meeks over at SE Lock and Key. I may or may not be there. We may or may not be recording something today for the podcast. So please, again, wait a second. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So I do have to say this: to fulfill my contractual obligations, please tune in to the Three Tumblers podcast, either on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts, and send us some mail. Email us your letter with the backdrop of a $20 bill, or on a coconut, or a banana, or on a lock body. I don't care. Write it inside the door frame before you install it with your message. Send us something. Jeff will be tickled pink to be able to read it. So, anyway, yep, it does get hot in South Carolina. All right, folks, y'all, been great as always. It's been fun being here. So, stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy, stay cool, stay out of trouble. We'll see you next time.